So, tuloy natin yung discussion natin about the Asian financial crisis of 1997. Pag-usapan naman natin ngayon yung other two na major cause of the financial crisis. So, dito muna tayo sa may part 2, the external sector factors causing the outbreak of the financial crisis in 1997. So pag-usapan naman natin yung mga external factors from the financial sector na nag-contribute sa naging rippling effect ng Asian financial crisis noong 1997. So number one is the rapid growth in the current account deficits. Yung naging rapid growth sa current account deficits. During the economic boom, during the rapid development ng mga Asian countries natin, tumataas din yung na-incur nila na foreign debts. And as foreign debts increases, kasabay na tumataas yung mga current account deficits. During that time, very limited lang yung available na information. Hindi pa naman kasi ganun ka-advance yung technologies natin noon. So, hindi nila agad-agad kayang kunin yung mga information regarding the current account balances ng mga economies. So, akala nila kaya namang i-sustain yung 5% na current account deficits sa GDP. Sa Thailand, umabot na ng almost 8% ng GDP yung naging current account deficit. Sa Malaysia, Philippines, and Korea, naglalaro lang sa 5% yung current account deficit. Pero sa Singapore and sa Taiwan, since malaki yung current account surpluses nila, kung nagkakaroon man ng decrease, hindi sila masyadong naapekto, hindi nila masyadong iniinda kasi na-absorb lang yung effects ng mga financial turbulences ng current account excess or yung current account surpluses nila. Number 2, overvalued exchange rates. So, before the financial crisis, sabi natin, di ba, nakapeg yung exchange rates ng most of the Asian countries sa US dollar. So, yung Thai baht, nakafix yan sa 25 baht per 1 US dollar exchange rate. Magkakaroon man yan ng fluctuations within a very narrow range lang. Hindi lalayo sa exchange rate na yan. Yung Philippine peso, nakafix sa 25 to 27 pesos per 1 US dollar. Yung Indonesian rupiah, naging slow naman. Yung Indonesian rupiah, naging slow naman yung devaluation niya against the US dollar. And the Malaysian ringgit and the Singaporean dollar nag-appreciate naman against the US dollar. Next, the collapse in the exports. So kung natatandaan nyo, yung economic developments ng mga Asian countries or the tiger economies were mainly boosted by export growth and sa pag-increase ng foreign investments. However, in the mid-1990s, nung kasalukuyan pa lang na nagre-recover sa US mula sa recession, the Federal Reserve, tinaasan niya yung interest rates against inflation. So sabi ko sa inyo, kapag mataas yung interest rates sa isang economy, nakaka-attract yan ng foreign investors. It attracted hot money to flow into the US market. Ngayon, ang nangyari, nag-appreciate sa US dollar because of this flow. So remember, most of the Asian currencies nakafix sa US dollar. So, nung nag-appreciate yung US dollar, of course, mag-a-appreciate din yung mga currencies na nakapeg sa kanya. And the appreciation of currencies naka-apekto sa export growth. So, nag-collapse yung exports ng mga economies, nagkaroon ng shock sa export at saka sa foreign investments. Sumunod na nag-collapse yung asset prices na naka-leverage lang sa utang. Nag-pull out kasi, nag-withdraw yung mga investors, nag-panic na sila during that time. So, pag-usapan natin ano yung naging effect ng pagpapanik ng mga investors at paano yun nakakontribute sa paglala ng financial crisis. Next, pag-usapan natin yung contagion. Pag-usapan natin yung contagion, globalization, and financial integration. Yung part 3, yung third major cause ng ating financial crisis. So, let's talk about the last major cause of the financial crisis of 1997. The Asian financial crisis was also called the Asian contagion. Okay? Tinatawag din natin siya ang the Asian contagion. Yung third contributing factor daw dun sa may crisis was the contagion of the financial disturbances across the Asian countries. Sabi nila, yung crisis daw is unusual kasi nag-originate siya sa isang maliit na bansa, lang, no, sa Thailand, and nag-spread na siya to a wider set of economies, including yung malalaking bansa, even sa Russia and sa Latin America. So, doon muna tayo sa may contagion. Okay? To define, ibig sabihin ng contagion is rapid transmission, no? Rapid communication of influence. Sa Tagalog, madaling makahawa, no, either by direct or indirect close contact. So meron daw dalawang channels of transmission and vulnerability na naging driving force nung contagion effect. Okay? So una is yung tinatawag na wake up call hypothesis. Okay? The wake up call hypothesis. It is said na yung nangyari sa Thailand, naging wake up call siya for the international investors para i-reassess yung credit worthiness ng mga Asian borrowers, kung safe pa ba na pahiramin sila ng resources. And upon reassessment, na-realize nila na quite a few of these economies merong weaknesses similar to those in Thailand. No? Naging mahina din yung financial sectors. Naging inadequate, hindi sapat yung prudential supervision, malaki yung imbalances sa external factors, nag-appreciate yung real exchange rates, and nagde-decline yung quality ng investment. So, natakot ngayon yung mga international or foreign investors. So, yun yung first, yun yung naging, yung unang channel, no? Channel of transmission and vulnerability dun sa may contagion effect natin. The second channel, no, is yung naging contagion, and the second channel nung naging contagion is the dynamics of devaluation. So na-mention natin kanina na nag-undergo sa major devaluations yung mga currencies ng most of the Asian economies. And nung nagkasunod-sunod na yung depreciation ng currencies, yung mga bansa na first time lang na makaranas ng devaluation, nag-decline yung competitiveness nila, naudlot yung growth, which in turn, mas lalong nagpahina sa currencies. So, consequently, kumalat na, nag-spread na yung effects ng crisis sa ibang economies. Like, for example, yung naging problema sa Indonesian banks and corporates, nag-rebound as a disadvantage to the Singaporean banks. So, humina yung primary commodity prices na naka-apekto naman sa exports ng, for example, ng Chile. Okay, naapektuhan naman yung exports ni Chile. And so, also, naging ganun, naging hawa-hawa yung effect niya. So, in other words, naging contagious na yung outbreak nung crisis. In addition, no, during that time, they were in the process of moving towards globalization and international capital mobility. So halos lahat no gustong i-take advantage yung benefits ng pagkipag-participate sa global marketplace as international trade. And these movements these critical world trends, naging malaki din yung influence nila sa pag-spread ng effects ng crisis across economies. Since mas naging malaya na, maluwag na yung trade of goods and capital in the East Asian countries, mas lumawak yung range ng tradable goods na available sa market. But, tumaas din yung exposure ng mga economies na to sa risk relating to international trade. And since nagkaroon ng increase sa stock of foreign-owned capital and foreign debts, kung natatandaan nyo, ito kasi yung naging fuel, diba? Yung naging fuel sa growth ng mga tiger economies natin. So, nag-increase din yung exposure nitong mga Asian countries na to shocks, to risk in the capital markets. So, itong trade links, na-summarize naman natin siya kanina sa channels, yung binanggit kong dalawang channels sa inyo. Punta naman tayo ngayon sa role of institutional investors sa naging financial crisis. So, yung main role ng mga institutional investors they serve as the providers and facilitators of capital access. Sila yung may control, no? Sila yung may control over the vast amounts of financial resources. So, yung state ng mga markets under developing economies, volatile, no? So, pwede siyang magbago rapidly and unpredictably, depende sa kung anong magiging movements, no, ng mga institutional investors natin. And, yung mga fund managers, no, may access sila kung ano yung mga trends and happenings sa mga economies across the globe. Sa mga economies across the globe. So, gagalaw yung mga yan, depende kung ano yung naging state, kung ano yung magiging state ng mga economies. They tend to act together. No, ibig sabihin, kung anong gagawin ng isang institutional investor, most likely, ganun din yung gagayahin ng isa. And so on. And this herd instinct, no? This herd instinct nagled sa contagion effect. Sa naging contagion effect. Next, how strong was this contagion effect? No? So, kanina pinag-usapan natin yung wake-up call hypothesis, no? Na yung nangyari sa Thailand, naging wake-up call siya for the international investors para i-reassess yung creditworthiness ng mga Asian borrowers, no? Kung sipa ba na pairanin sila ng resources. Meron daw dalawang possible na explanation kung bakit nagkaroon ng contagion effect at nag-spread yung outbreak ng crisis sa ibang economies. Okay, so number one is the herd instinct, no, or the contagion effect. Nag-withdraw yung mga international investors, nagkaroon ng pressure on the exchange rate, external balances, and interest rates. Humina ngayon yung financial sector, leading to bankruptcies, and as a result, no, naging sobrang slow na yung movement ng mga economies. Yung second explanation naman is kaya nagkaroon ng competitive devaluation, no, sa exchange rates ng mga Asian economies para daw makahabol sa Thailand, no, para ma-maintain nila yung kanilang competitiveness sa market, no? Kaya nagbaba din sila, no, nagkaroon din ng devaluation sa exchange rates ng mga ibang Asian economies. So, yun yung second possible explanation natin for the spread nung naging financial crisis. Last, punta tayo sa fixed exchange rate regime. So, pag naubos na yung reserves na meron yung isang government, no, yung government ng isang bansa, mahihirapan na siyang i-sustain yung fixed exchange rate regime, especially pag nagkakaroon pa ng appreciation dun sa may currency, kung saan naka-peg yung currency ng economy. So, common scenarios natin, madalas kasi, nagkakaroon ng large current account deficits na pinag-usapan natin kanina. Large current account deficits, bumabagsak yung foreign investment, no, which sa case ng crisis natin during that time is because nagpo-pull out na yung mga foreign investors. So ayaw na rin i-extend ng mga creditors yung terms ng mga foreign debts. Pag sa tingin ni investor, magtutuloy-tuloy yung decline sa reserves ng isang economy, matatakot yan, no? Lumalaki kasi yung exposure ng investment niya magbebenta yan ngayon. Magbebenta yan to save the investment bago pa tuluyang mag-depreciate yung currency. And this accelerated, no, the reserve loss, mas lalong lumala yung decline sa reserves during that time. Okay, and that's it, no? That's it for our discussion on the financial crisis of 1997 and its three major causes. So, I hope na-enjoy nyo kahit paano yung discussion natin, and kung may questions kayo, message nyo na lang ako. And thank you so much and have a great day.